Okay, today we're going to do geometric sequences. Geometric sequences, that's a sequence. Make sure that you're writing this down. Of numbers in which the ratio which we're going to be using the letter R, remains constant. That means you're always going to be using the same number. You're always multiplying by the same number. That's why it remains constant. And how do you find the common ratio? Okay? You find it by dividing. Found by dividing each term by the previous term. Okay? So I wanted you guys to do problems 1 through 6 and see if you can find that pattern. Okay? If you want, you can pause the video and see if you can try to find it. That means we're going. How do you get from the first term to the second term? Are you adding, multiplying, dividing, subtracting? I just told you that we are multiplying. And in order to find that that ratio, we need to divide. Okay? So problem number 1. Problem number 1. Okay, if I take the second term and divide it by the first term, 10 divided by 2. Let me put it over here on this side. 10 divided by 2. What does that give you? 5, right? Five. That means from this number to this number, you multiply by 5. From this number to this number, you multiply by 5. And then from this number to this number, you multiply by 5. So if you want to check it, go ahead and check using the calculator. Does 2 times 5 give you 10? Does 10 times 5 give you 50? Does 50 times 5 give you 250? Okay? And if it does, then this is a geometric sequence, and we would put yes. And our ratio is what number? Our ratio is 5, so put yes, and the R equals 5. Okay, that's how much we're multiplying each one by. Let's try problem number 2. How would I find the ratio of this one? Divide. What am I dividing? 45 by 135. Okay, so I need you to put this in the calculator. We're dividing the second term by the first term to see what the ratio is that will give us the second term. So go ahead and do that right now. So let's use the calculator. 45 divided by 135. So 45 divide by 135. Enter. It gives us a decimal, and then we do math, enter, enter, and it gives us 1/3. So the ratio is 1/3 if they all do the same thing. So we have to check all of them, not just the first one. So right here, that equals to 1/3. That means this times 1/3 gives me 45. But 45 times 1/3, does that give me 15? And then 15 times 1/3, does that give me 5? So let's go ahead and check those using the calculator. 45 times, I'm going to use parentheses, 1/3. Enter. Gives me 15. Then 15 times 1/3, does that give me 5? Yes. So that is a geometric sequence. We would put yes. and that our ratio is 1/3. So yes, and the R equals 1/3. Okay? I'm just going to do one more with you. Problem number 3. How would I find the R? I'm dividing what? 18 divided by 6. What does that give you? 3, right? So that means 6 times 3 gives me 18. Does 18 times 3 give me 24? No. Okay, and if you don't believe me, let's go put it in the calculator real quick. 18 times 3 does not give me 24. So what does that tell you? Not that it's wrong, that it's what? It's not a geometric sequence. Okay, so we would put no, and it doesn't have a ratio. I mean, if it would have continued with the same pattern, then the ratio would have been 3. But because 3 doesn't work, that's not the ratio, and we don't have to worry about the ratio when we get a no. Okay? So you guys are going to do the same thing for 1 through 6. I want you to finish those. I want you to pause the video, and then when you're done, we're going to continue with problem number 7. And if you think you can continue 7 through 10, then go ahead and do those as well. Okay, so hopefully you paused the video and you tried at least 1 through 10. I'm going to do problem number 7. No, I'll do number 8. Okay, so if we continue with what we were doing, how do I get the ratio for number 8? Dividing, right? So I'm going to divide this number by this number. So in the calculator, you're going to put 768 divided by 3070. 72. Okay? That's 0.25. So you can just leave it like that. That means every time we're going to be multiplying by 0.25, which is really a fourth. Okay? So 0.25 or a fourth is fine with me. It doesn't matter which one you use. So if I'm multiplying this times this, 0.25, and that gives me 768, then this times 0.25 should give me 192. Then to get the next number, you just multiply by 25. So let's do 192 in the calculator times 0.25. And then multiply by 0.25 again, and then multiply by 0.25 again. That'll give you the next 3 numbers. So again, 192 times 0.25, enter, gives you 48. Write that number down. Then, you don't even have to type it again. You just do times 0.25, enter, and it gives you the next number, which is 12. Times 0.25, and that gives you the last number, which is 3. So we have 48, 12, and 3. Okay? So that's how you should have done all the way up to 10. Let's go to the next one where we actually talk about the formula, because there is a formula. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't like the formula. I think the way that we just did it right now is easier. But there is a formula you can use, and we're going to write it down. So A1 is the first term. That means the first number that we started the pattern with. Okay, so you're going to need to know that. R, we know it's the ratio. Okay, and we use that in the formula A sub n equals A sub 1 times R, which is the ratio, to the n minus 1 power. Okay, again, I told you it's not a pretty formula. So how do you use it? You would use it for like the next problems, because the next problems are asking you for the 7th term, a to the 7th. So instead of doing it all the way up to 7 times, we're just going to use the formula, and it's going to take you straight to the 7th term. So let's do problem number 11. Okay? Let's figure out the ratio. Remember how we figured out the ratio before? 9 divided by 3. So the ratio is 3, right? Every time you're multiplying by 3. So let's put that right here. R equals 3. So you always find the ratio. And then you know that a sub 1 is what? The one that you started with. What did we start with? The 3. The first term, right? So we need those to use in the formula. So now my formula says a sub n equals the first term, right? A sub 1. So that's 3 times the ratio, which is also 3, to the n minus 1. N is that number that we're looking for. A sub n, right? A sub n. Well, they told us a sub 7. So I need 7. So that number right there needs to be 7 minus 1. So what's 7 minus 1? 6. So really we're doing a sub n equals 3 times 3 to the power of 6. And if you put that in the calculator, what does it give you? So let's go put that in the calculator. Here we go. I have 3 times 3 to the power of 6. So we need a little caret to the power of 6. Enter. 2,183. Easy? Okay. So let's go back. Let's put it in there. A sub n, which was my 7. Let me go back. A sub 7 equals 2,187. Okay, so you're going to do the same thing for number 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. And we're looking for a sub 7 for all of them. So I'm going to let you try some, and then I'll do one more problem with you. So go ahead and pause the video and continue working. Okay, so from 11 through 20, they're all the same. I'm going to go ahead and do problem number 19 and 20 with you. So let's go to that one, because it's a real world situation. Okay? And we're going to use the same formula because it's talking about 10 years after. So right now it's showing you all the way to 3 years after. And it's saying that it's depreciating. That means the value is going down from 10,000 to 8,000 to 6,400. So we need to know how much it's going down by. So we're going to find the R, right? And then we're going to find the formula. Remember, it's a sub n equals a sub 1 times r to the n minus 1. So we need to find a ratio for this one. And we already know what a sub 1 is because we started with 10,000. So we have a sub n equals 10,000 times, we need to find the r. So how do I find r? Divide. So I'm going to divide 8,000 by 10,000. So go ahead and do that in the calculator. 8,000 divided by 10,000. Enter. 0.8. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it like that, 0.8. So we're multiplying all of them by 0.8. So right here, 10,000 times